A 6-year-old boy is now without his mother after a boat crashes into a seawall in Highland Beach over the weekend. 6 others were injured, including 3 children. Those who live near the town's narrow Intracoastal Waterway are deeply saddened, but not shocked that this happened. CBS 12's Lily Ortiz met with one couple fighting for added security measures to avoid incidents like this.
FWC still piecing together exactly what happened. Now, they have not said, though, whether alcohol or speed was a factor in this devastating crash that impacted at least 2 families. One couple we've met said that they've spoken with state and local officials several times this year because they say speed is a big problem right now on the water. Maggie Chappelear and her husband John live in a small complex of townhomes in Highland Beach. They heard screams moments after a boat crashed into a seawall near their dock, throwing all 7 people on it overboard, instantly killing a young mother Sunday evening.
That also reinforced the fact that I need to do something in my backyard.
Officials identified the victim as 37-year-old Samantha Esposito of Royal Palm Beach. 6 others were injured, including 3 children. Investigators were out at the scene Monday, piecing together evidence to determine the cause of the crash. We spoke with the Chappelears, who say they are devoted boaters, but they avoid going out on the weekends.
So boaters come through here, some of them doing 70, 80 miles an hour, and it is a stew of boats. It's just an accident waiting to happen.
They say there is no law enforcement in this area. The closest visible speed limit sign is about 2 miles from where the crash happened.
So from Spanish River Bridge to Linton, it's I-95.
The Chappelears have been vocal on the changes they feel the area needs so that others can enjoy the surrounding Intracoastal Waterways in the town safely. Maggie joined the town's advisory board. She's also sat down with local and state officials, trying to get the Army Corps of Engineers to enforce a no-wake zone in that area.
The local towns here would love to slow boat traffic down, but they don't have the authority to do it, even though they know it's a very dangerous situation.
And FWC is offering some safety tips following this devastating crash. They say to always have a designated boat operator who is familiar with the waterways, always have all the required safety gear on board, and finally file a float plan, which is simply telling someone where you're going and what time you plan to return.
Before Hurricane Ida made landfall, Louisiana evacuated dozens of nursing homes and assisted living facilities. Meanwhile, intensive care units statewide were 90% full, making this the first major storm to test the nation's pandemic emergency response capacity, with hospitals nearly full of COVID patients. CBS 12's Denise Sawyer looks at local preparedness as we head into the busiest part of hurricane season.
Good evening. Now, if Florida finds itself in a similar situation with a direct landfall of a hurricane, with hospitals overrun by COVID patients, emergency operations directors tell me that they would use a transit bus similar to the one behind me to transport COVID patients out of harm's way.
With hurricane season just getting into full swing, this emergency transit bus sits at the ready, capable of transporting a dozen patients at a time should a major storm come our way while hospitals are at capacity.
Category 4, Category 5 hurricanes, that's when you see people going, uh-oh.
Mitch Michael is the director of emergency operations in Okeechobee County. There, a hurricane could breach the already vulnerable dike system around Lake Okeechobee and cause catastrophic flooding. That in turn could threaten Rawlinson Hospital and every patient inside.
We would try not to evacuate a hospital unless we absolutely had to. And the rule is you run from the water, you hide from the wind. You know, we try to keep them where they're at if we can. The only time we really evacuate them is for water, like they had in Louisiana.
As the sun came up in Louisiana today, the scope of the damage became clear.
Oh my God!
Buildings are toppled, power is out for millions, and floodwaters are receding slowly. A stark reminder of what a major storm could bring to our doorstep, which is why emergency personnel here have to keep an eye on COVID in the tropics. And Martin County Emergency Management Director Sally Waits.
We have additional shelters on standby. We have plans set aside for special accommodations for people that are appearing sick.
In St. Lucie County,
the hospitals and the healthcare units have been talking about and looking at their emergency operations plans about transferring patients to one other facility. The good news for us in St. Lucie is that the hospitals are not really in flood zones. So it's not very likely that we will see a situation like in New Orleans.
But with the peak of hurricane season just days away, hospitals in Florida and emergency personnel remain alert.
State of Florida defiant tonight,
saying it will push forward with sanctions against school districts who mandate masks, despite a judge ruling last week that the state's mask mandate ban was unlawful.
Well, this comes as COVID cases are climbing, especially in the classroom. CBS 12's Jay O'Brien joining us tonight with the state's next move. Jay?
Yeah, tonight, Liz and Jim, the state of Florida said that it will go ahead targeting funding that's aimed at the salaries of school board members in the first 2 school districts that mandated masks. Now, 12 school districts in all have followed suit and done the same. Lee County just mandated masks tonight. That list also includes Palm Beach County, who appears to be next on the chopping block.
Governor DeSantis' administration on the offensive, pushing ahead with fining school districts mandating masks. In this statement, Florida's education commissioner saying his agency will begin withholding funds targeting school board members' salaries in Broward and Alachua counties.
Does that sound good?
That's despite Tallahassee Judge John Cooper ruling any statewide ban on mandatory masking in schools is against the law. The governor vowing to appeal.
Ultimately, we're just trying to stand with the parents. A lot of parents, they know their kid in terms of the health. Parents' Bill of Rights has said this is your right here.
Charles Gallagher is one of the attorneys suing DeSantis.
This ruling is one that supports the right of school boards to make their own rules where they see fit, and at the end of the day, protect kids.
But even with the judge's ruling, those school boards are still in the crosshairs. One state official telling CBS 12 News fining Broward and Alachua counties was set in motion Thursday before the court's decision, adding the state are the ones following the law, not the school districts. But those school districts like Palm Beach County are still facing funding pressures. The state even sending this letter announcing an investigation into the mask mandate in county schools and giving administrators until Wednesday to back down and allow parents a choice. This threat sent the same day Judge Cooper ruled actions exactly like this were against the law. The district, though, not caving. School Board Chair Frank Barbieri telling us he's not concerned about the state's threats.
You ready to give up part of your salary?
I'm not here for the money.
The school district also said to us that one of their concerns and one of the reasons why they're going to keep this mask mandate in place is because cases are rising in the classroom. Just tonight, the school district passed 3,000 COVID cases district-wide. That includes faculty and students. Last year, in the entirety of last school year, they had 3,800 cases. So they're already getting close to that number in just the first few weeks of school.